Talk about safety here. I just had an incident today. It's kind of scary, not life-threatening, but it puts life into perspective and how quickly things happen and how unsuspecting things can happen to you. So I'm over here working by myself, and I didn't get over here super early, upload my videos, and I think I rolled in here around 8:15 this morning. I'm a hay farmer. I got to wait for the hay to dry off before I mow it, before it gets stacked, before it gets raked, and before it gets baled. So, you just kind of do the things you need to do around the house before you come to the farm. So, I got over here and I knew that this spring was broken. This guy right here, that one right there. Now it's fixed. Hopefully it lasts the day, because tomorrow I should have my new parts. But a couple weeks ago I put that new tire on that baler, and as you can see, and it's not very noticeable until I point it out, but it's supposed to be the same size. It says 560/45 R22.5, and that's what that one says, but it's a little bit smaller in circumference. So I got in there, I lifted up the mud flap that's in the way. Actually I have it out of the way now, but I lifted up the mud flap and I put my knee here like this, and I crawled in under there, and I put all my weight on my knee, and I got in there, and I was working, trying to get that spring, the broken piece of the spring out, and when I went to get out of there, I found that I couldn't move. I was stuck. I was stuck in there. My knee had fallen between the tires and ended up down in there, and the more I pulled up, the tighter it seemed to get, and the more I pulled back, the tighter it got. And after struggling for about 10 minutes to get my knee out of there, I decided that it was a good idea to call for help. So I did. Now what do I got? Seattle, Washington, huh? So I did. I called for help. I'm like, well, I called Timothy and he wasn't even anywhere around. And so I thought, I was getting a little upset because Tim was supposed to be here and he wasn't, and I was stuck. And yes, it is my fault that I was stuck, but still, I needed the help. So I called Teresa, and Teresa hopped in her car and she headed right over here. And it takes about 8 minutes to get here from my house. That's it. That's unless you're speeding, then you can do it in 5. But on a nice leisurely day, you get it done in about 8 minutes. So I laid across the top of the tire here, and I figured, the worst thing to do is to panic and fight, and there's times to fight to get away from something, and there's times that you just have to level your head and think about things for a bit before you get yourself into a worse predicament. And I felt after fighting with this thing for about 10 minutes that I had gotten myself into such a predicament that my right foot was starting to go numb. And it was dying. As a matter of fact, it still feels weak, and that's been 2 hours ago. So I thought, well, Teresa was on her way, and I was laying on top of that tire, and I thought, I'm just going to relax here. I know I got about 8 minutes before she gets here, or 7 minutes, or 5 minutes, or even 4, and she actually did pass somebody on the right-hand side that was going 60, so she was going about 90, and she got here really quick. But Timothy, of course, he was like a sloth. But anyway, they're doing some work up here on our road, and they had the road closed, so that takes a lot longer time, so I ended up here for about 15 more minutes. So we're looking at close to a half an hour being stuck in that tire. And I thought, well, if I could just get somebody to pull my foot back out of there, maybe it would loosen up enough and it would come out. Well, that didn't work, because when I lifted up my leg, my foot, this part here, the muscle expanded and it got tighter. So I thought, well, that's not going to work. So I relaxed my foot and I turned it sideways like that in there. And I kind of just pushed downward with my foot, slightly and slowly, and finally my foot popped out as Teresa came around the corner here. So, and that was that. It was good. I got out. Leg is a little weak. It had starved for some blood, and but it's just amazing how you can get stuck in something silly like that, and not life-threatening. But if somebody was in the tractor and drove off, it probably would have tore my leg off. You can get a grease gun, so he greases that thing. Yeah, what was I saying? Oh, okay. So there's just so many little things that can happen to you, and it's very busy in here. Now, I got caught in the New Holland baler a few years back, and that gives you a great respect for this. Now, you wouldn't think that 2 tires could grab you and hold on to you for like a half an hour before you could wiggle your way out of it. I did think about pulling the air out of it, but I thought maybe that would be a bad idea because as it gets flat on the bottom, it may press my leg tighter against the other tire. So I opted not to do that. But yeah, so anyways, these things here are nothing to play around with. Shut the tractor off, pull this little lever here, because even though it's not running, this is the brake for the flywheel. That isn't for when the flywheel's running, that's for when you're stopped, because that little brake is not going to stop a 360 horsepower tractor or power plant. So you kind of got to be real vigilant as to what you're doing. Sticking fingers in places. I know here I made a video a while back that I was readjusting the magnetic pickup for the pickup reel, and I had it running. Well, you know, I know the risks, and I'm not going to stick my fingers in the holes directly, but just be very cautious. And sometimes these things, they just have to be running in order to get them adjusted properly. So, but anyway, I guess I've yammered on enough, and I can't express enough. Just be vigilant, and if you think there's a pinch area, stay the hell out of there. Put your knee between 2 tires. Make sure you got somebody here, because it is kind of scary being stuck there. And I actually thought to myself, you know, I guess this is kind of like being in jail. You can't move, you're stuck in one spot, and there's nothing you can do about it, so you feel helpless. But other than that, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video, and take into heart, you only have one life. You don't get reincarnated. There's not 40 virgins on the other side. It's just darkness, or maybe the light, and Jesus is on the other side welcoming you home, if that's such a thing. But anyway, I always say I'm going to hell because, it's, you know, I like to be warm, but, you know, I don't know that there is such a place as hell. But who knows? Anyway, thanks for watching. Please comment, rate, and subscribe. And go on, because